Steve, what's your view?
Well, some cases are so serious they absolutely test our capacity for mercy, and this is one such case. And I'm very clear in my own mind that this man does not deserve to live, and that for what he's done, it would be an open and shut case if we had the death penalty in the UK. But the reason that we don't is because of our values, because it is a final sentence, because people are unjustly convicted and there's no recourse if they have been killed by the state. I thought your correspondents, your viewers made some very wise points about the sheer cold-blooded nature of the state killing people. I mean, the reason that the European Convention includes a protocol which was soberly adopted by nation-states, it's not from the jurisprudence. The reason it's in there is because of the long history of states taking the death penalty and using it to persecute people, to conduct purges and so forth. It's an extremely
but to me,
serious...
If they've admitted murdering like he did of innocent children, you know, what about their human rights? I don't care about the human rights of murderers. I care about the human rights of those children who have been murdered and the rights of their parents that they'll never ever see them again. That's what I think is important.
Well, as I said moments ago, I agree with you on that. He doesn't deserve his life. But the reason that we don't have the death penalty is because it doesn't work the way that people would want it to. I mean, you mentioned cost. In the USA, it costs far more to have the death penalty and to try somebody for death than it costs to put them in jail. And I think we should just reflect what it will mean for him to spend his life in jail, a minimum of 52 years before he can apply for parole. Now, obviously, I would prefer a whole life term along with his life sentence. It is a life sentence. I would prefer a whole life term, but the circumstances are what they are. But those decades are going to roll by slowly for that man, and I bet at times he will wish for death, and it will not come. And it's going to be a very cruel life for him. And rightly so.
Not as cruel as the parents, Steve, who got that life of grief, having to live life knowing that the person who murdered their beautiful children is still living. Yes, he might be living in prison, but he is still living. Their children do not get that chance.
Well, he will be living a life not worth living. But, of course, as I say, if we were asking, does this man really deserve his life, the answer is no, he does not. I mean, the ECHR, when it gives its reasons, it uses highfalutin terms about the dignity of every life, which in general terms I agree with. I do respect the dignity of every person. But the reality is some people's crimes are so horrific that for the reasons you give, they do deserve death. But the reasons we don't kill them is because the death penalty doesn't work out the way that people think it does. That can be seen from the United States. It's more expensive than keeping them in prison. It can't be undone. People are unjustly sentenced to death when they're innocent, which is a terrible burden on everyone involved. Prison officers, the executioner.
That's why we need these checks and balances, and when they admit guilt themselves and the evidence is so substantial that they are clearly the ones who murdered, then I think that's different.